Hi guys, today I'm going to be mansplaining for you how you can succeed at the highest level of any field that you are in. So I did a couple of videos earlier in the week about work-life balance, but that was more tailored towards work life and personal life at home. And this video is more about how you can get the most out of yourself in your work life and get the perfect balance to succeed at any level. So if you are super highly motivated, super ambitious, and all you want to do is achieve the most that you can out of your professional life, then this is the video for you. So let's get stuck into it. So my first piece of advice is make sure to determine exactly what it is you are setting out to achieve and then never lose focus of that goal. Life never works out perfectly, and it doesn't matter what direction you start in, you've got to be able to adapt and change with the times and get with the program as it's changing to make sure you get the most out of your professional life. Otherwise, you'll find yourself falling behind and dropping off the pace. So throughout the process, you need to make sure you are always asking yourself, what am I setting out to achieve, and am I going about it in the right way? This is actually something that I learned years ago, and it helped me so much in my professional life, and that is prioritize what you are doing every day. If you have the time to sit down at the end of every day or first thing in the morning, write down all the things that you need to do, all of the things, and then go through those same things and prioritize them. Get the important stuff out the way first and put the not so important stuff down the bottom. And as long as you're always knocking off the most important tasks, you're going to be staying on top of your game. And don't be tempted to get rid of the small stuff first, because sometimes the things that are very small are really quick and easy to knock off. But if we start to do enough of them, we never actually get to the important stuff. If you try this even for a month, you will be blown away by how much it improves your productivity. Plan it out at the start of your day or the end of your day so that when you get into work and it's ready to go, you know exactly what job comes next. No thinking required at all. If you want to be the best, then you have to beat everyone else who is also trying to be the best, or beat out the people who already are currently the best. Because either way, you've got to knock them off their perch or beat someone else into that race, because otherwise you're just going to lag behind. And the only way to do that is to maximize your efficiency, your effectiveness, and your time spent working. Get to work earlier, finish work later, and focus through the whole day to get the most out of every single working day. Because you better believe there are other people who are working that hard to get exactly where you're trying to go. If you assume that you're the best, then you're being lazy, because you better believe that there are people who are much better out there than you at doing the exact same thing you're trying to do. The only way you're going to get an edge on them is you're going to work way harder. So make sure you get out of bed earlier, get home later, and focus and work as hard as you can in your working hours, and find ways to be the most efficient and the most effective that you can to get an edge on those people who are working just as hard, if not harder than you are. Guys, my next tip is never be stale. Always look for new ways to improve the things you're already doing. If you're doing something all the time, you probably have a routine, you probably have a system, but what's best is to always be changing that up and finding better ways to do the same tasks. If you can find a way to do the same task in 30% less time, how good's that throughout your day? If you can find a lot of different areas where you can improve what you're already doing, rather than just doing what you're used to, you might find your productivity go up really drastically. And that can mean the difference between reaching your goal and falling just short of your goal. This one will be no surprise to anyone out there, and that is be a master of time management. If you want to be extremely successful, then you need to make sure you manage your time really effectively. Because if you're not on top of your time management, you're going to find yourself falling behind really quickly. And once you do, it's very hard to catch back up. So make sure that you definitely make a really concerted effort to manage your time the best that you know how. If you want to succeed, make sure that you are always leveling up your skills. If you become stagnant or complacent, then what you're going to find is everybody's moving ahead of you while you're stalling or going backwards, because times change and people are always moving forward. So if you get complacent and assume that you're the best or your skills are already good enough, then you're probably going to find that you're nowhere near the mark, and you need to always be working to improve yourself, whether it's in your work life, in your private life, in the way you manage your time, in the way you focus, whatever it might be. Find ways to get better and better and level up your skills. My next tip is always focus on your weaknesses. We all have strengths. We all know that it's really great to stay in our wheelhouse and stick to our strengths. But if you can turn your weaknesses into your strengths, then you are a weapon. No one can stop you. If you're always getting new weaknesses and turning them into strengths, your strength pool grows enormously and your weakness pool shrinks. Next thing you know, you don't have any weaknesses and you're really, really proficient at anything that you're trying to achieve. So take a really good hard look at yourself, sit down and really assess where you're at. Do you have any weak areas in what you're trying to achieve? And then hone in those skills. Make those weaknesses your strengths. People always say you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if your weakest link is something important in what you're trying to achieve, you're in trouble. Find your weaknesses, turn them into strengths, rinse and repeat. If you don't already, keep a calendar or a diary or a notebook, just something to monitor your schedule and always plan out your time as best that you can, whether it's for the day, week, month, quarter, year, whatever that may look like for you. Plan out a schedule, set some goals, and make sure that you really stick to it the best that you can, because it means that you don't have to waste time thinking of what comes next, what should I set my mind to, what's the next step in the process. If you sit down at the beginning and plan it out and know exactly where you're headed and how to get there, you can follow that to the T. My next tip is don't be afraid to change direction. Sometimes we're just not going where we need to go. We're not getting there fast enough. We could be doing it better. So make sure you do take the time to assess where you are at and see if there is another direction you can take. And don't be afraid to shift gears and go in a different direction. It could be the refresher that you really need. And lastly, don't forget to look over your progress. It's very easy for us to forget to look back, see how we're tracking, but it's so important to make sure you stop, take a few moments to sit back, see where you've come from, where you've gotten to, if you followed a good path, if you should continue on that path, or if you should look to do something different. It's very important that we are always reflecting and trying to improve the things that we are doing. Are we hitting our targets? Are we reaching our goals? Are we on track to where we wanted to be? Or do we need a complete shift and go in a different direction? How do we know if we're not assessing what we've already been doing and how we got to the point we're at right now? All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Just a really quick video to help you guys out. I really, really relate to people who are high achieving, and that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. I wanna see how far I can push myself. Can I learn how to use a camera, edit videos? Can I learn all the different things? Can I learn to be really engaging with you guys and put out content that you enjoy? So I totally relate to you, really high achievers, and I love to see you hitting your goals. So make sure you don't waver, go after it, and go hard. And until next time, I'm Dan, and this is Dan Explained. See ya!